Hey Garden Fam! Welcome back to The Sprout. Today, we are talking about one of the most romantic and recognizable flowers in the gardening world, the bleeding heart. You might know it as Dicentra spectabulus, or by its new botanical name, Lamprocapnos spectabulus. And if you've never seen one, imagine a row of tiny pink or white lockets, each one shaped like a perfect heart with a little drop of blood at the bottom dangling from an arching green stem. It's the kind of plant that makes you stop and smile. Bleeding heart is an old-fashioned cottage garden favorite that has graced in gardens for generations. And the best part? It thrives in the shade, which is a lifesaver for those tricky spots under trees or on the north side of the house where other flowers struggle. But here's the thing, this plant is a bit of a diva. It has a specific schedule. It bursts onto the scene in spring, puts on a spectacular show, and then, in the heat of summer, it completely disappears. It goes dormant, turning yellow and dying back. Many new gardeners panic thinking they've killed it, but no, it's just catching a nap until next spring. In this video, I'll teach you everything you need to know about growing this stunning perennial, where to plant it, how to care for it, and most importantly, what to do when it disappears in the summer. Plus, we'll cover common problems and even talk about why you should wear gloves when handling it. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new plant care videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Do you grow bleeding hearts? What's your favorite variety? I'd love to hear about it. Now, let's get into it. First, let's clear up one thing, the name change. You will often find this plant in nurseries under the name Dicentra spectabulus, which is its traditional name. However, botanists have reclassified it, and its current correct name is Lamprocapnos spectabulus. Don't worry if you see either name on the tag. As long as it looks like a row of dangling hearts, you're in the right place. Now, let's talk about the most important thing, location, location, location. Bleeding heart is a woodland plant at heart. It does not like the hot, scorching afternoon sun. It needs a spot that gets morning sun and afternoon shade, or better yet, dappled light throughout the day under a canopy of trees. Too much sun and the leaves will scorch and the plant will go into dormancy prematurely. Too much deep shade and you won't get many flowers. So find that sweet spot, a place where the soil stays naturally cool and moist. Before we plant, let's pick the perfect variety. The classic one is the old-fashioned bleeding heart, with deep rose-pink petals and white tips. It's the one your grandmother probably grew, but there's also a pure white variety called Alba or Alba plana, which looks ethereal in a shade garden. For something really striking, try Gold Heart, which has the same pink flowers but with bright chartreuse gold leaves, bringing color to the garden even when the blooms fade. Now let's talk about soil. Bleeding heart is not too picky, but it has a strong preference. It needs rich, fertile soil that is packed with organic matter. Think of the forest floor where leaves have been decomposing for years. That's what it craves. The soil should be moist but well-drained. They hate wet, soggy feet, which can lead to crown rot. They prefer a neutral to slightly alkaline soil pH, so if your soil is very acidic, you might add a little lime. However, good quality compost is usually enough to keep them happy. Now, let's talk about planting. The best time to plant a bleeding heart is in the spring, after the last frost. You can also plant them in the fall, but spring is usually safer for beginners. If you're planting bare roots, which is common, dig a hole deep enough so that the crown of the plant sits about an inch or two below the soil surface. Space them about 12 to 18 inches apart. The roots are very brittle, so handle them with care. Once planted, water it in well. Now, let's talk about watering. This is crucial. The bleeding heart needs consistent moisture, but not constant water. The goal is to keep the soil evenly moist, like a wrung-out sponge, especially during the spring when it's actively growing and blooming. During the first year, you need to be vigilant, but once established, they are more forgiving. If the soil dries out too much, especially in hot, windy weather, the plant will go dormant early and you'll miss the show. A thick layer of organic mulch like leaf mold or wood chips is a lifesaver. It keeps the roots cool and retains that precious moisture. Now, let's talk about fertilizing. If you've prepared the soil with plenty of rich compost, you don't really need to fertilize much. A top-up of compost or aged manure in the spring is usually more than enough. If you do want to use a fertilizer, choose a balanced, slow-release one in the spring when the shoots first emerge. Don't overdo it. Too much nitrogen will create floppy, lush leaves at the expense of those gorgeous blooms. Now, let's talk about pruning. This is where you need to understand the plant's life cycle. Bleeding heart blooms in mid to late spring, typically from April to June. Once the flowers fade, you can leave them or you can cut them back if you want a tidier look. But here's the big one. After it finishes blooming, the foliage will start to turn yellow and die back completely. This is not a disease. It's a natural, important phase where the plant retracts its energy back into the roots for next year. You can cut the dying foliage back to the ground in late summer, once it's fully yellow and crispy. This also helps prevent pests and diseases from taking hold. If you cut it back too early, you'll weaken the plant for next year. Now, let's talk about what to plant with it. Because it disappears in summer, you need companions to fill that gap. Plant it behind or near hostas, ferns, or astilbes. These will start to leaf out just as the bleeding heart is fading, perfectly masking the empty spot. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. Summer dieback. This is the biggest problem people think they have. The plant turns yellow and dies in midsummer. This is not a problem. It's normal dormancy. Don't panic, just clean up the dead foliage. Do not try to water it back to life. Problem 2. Crown rot. This is a real problem. If the crown, where the roots meet the stem, stays too wet, it will rot. This is often caused by planting too deep or sitting in wet clay soil. Make sure you plant it at the right depth and that the soil drains well. Problem 3. Powdery mildew. In humid weather, you might see a white powder on the leaves. Improve air circulation around the plant. You can thin out some of the surrounding foliage to let the breeze through. Problem 4. No flowers. This can happen if you prune it at the wrong time or if it gets too much shade. Remember, it blooms on old growth from the previous year. Don't cut it back in the fall or winter. And if it's in deep shade, it won't bloom well. Problem 5. Pests. They are usually deer and rabbit resistant, but they can get slugs and aphids. Use slug traps for slugs and spray aphids off with water or use insecticidal soap. Problem 6. Toxicity. This is important. All parts of the bleeding heart plant are considered toxic if ingested and can also cause skin irritation. Always wear gloves when handling this plant and keep it away from pets and small children. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you grow bleeding heart? What's your favorite variety? I'd love to know. Now let's talk about propagation. The easiest way to get more of these beauties is by division. You can do this in early spring or fall. Dig up a mature clump. You'll see that it's made of several crowns. Gently pull them apart or use a sharp knife. Make sure each new section has at least 3 to 4 healthy shoots and a good root system. Replant them immediately. It's that simple. You can also try root cuttings, but division is much easier for a beginner. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. Are bleeding hearts perennials? Yes, they come back year after year. How long do they live? For many years, as long as the conditions are right. Can I grow them in containers? Yes, but they need a big, deep pot to accommodate their root system. When do they bloom? In the spring, typically from April to June. Why do they go dormant? To survive the summer heat. It's their natural way of protecting themselves. Are they deer resistant? Yes, they are generally deer and rabbit resistant. Let's wrap everything up. Bleeding heart is a classic, romantic, and surprisingly easy care plant if you give it the right conditions. Give it rich, well-draining soil full of organic matter. Find it a spot with morning sun and afternoon shade. Water it consistently, but don't drown it. And please don't panic when it goes to sleep in the summer. It's just recharging for the next spectacular spring. Here's the most important thing to remember. Bleeding heart is a rhythm plant. It has its season and it does its job perfectly. It's a plant that teaches you patience and the beauty of fleeting things. If you can let it do its thing and just support it with the right soil and light, it will be a highlight in your garden that you'll look forward to every spring. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you planting bleeding hearts this year? What variety? I'd love to know. Also, what plant should I cover next? Hosta? Ferns? Astilbe? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.